Hello and welcome back to my channel, and this time sponsored by Card Market, the best platform to purchase paper cards but also to sell your paper cards. And today we'll be going back to Pioneer, okay? I've taken a bit of a break from Pioneer, focusing on modern cryptic shells because I love modern and love cryptic shells, which does not mean I don't want to play some blue control-y, counter-y, card draw-y decks in Pioneer. And I was scrolling through some kind of modern Pioneer challenge results, and I stumbled across this beauty, controlled, piloted by the one, the only, the best, the legendary Mr. Waffle Tapper. So, I just simply couldn't not give it a go. The shell, the blue-black control, blue-white is blue-black. And it's a nod to the fact that black has much better removal, which it absolutely does. So, first off, the mana base, very standard, I would say. 4 shocks, some basics, 2 fields, 2 cyclones, passages, checklands, a few castles. I think it's kind of simple. 25 lands, so that's something to note of. 4 opts, yup. 4 pushes, yup. 3 Censor to negate. So the way I think it should be looked at probably is like Waffle probably wanted 5 2 CMC counter spells, and these are the slots. 5 2 CMC counter spells, and then just made a split. Right, so it's not like 4 and so, because sometimes people do 4 and 1. For example, the negate would, for some people, negate would be like a 5th Censor, right? But now the way this should be looked at probably is like they are all 2 mana counter spells, right? And they're just 5 of them with a split. Heartless Act, Hero's Downfall, 4 sabotages, which work very well with the shell, because contrary to blue-white, which is a control deck with dig through time, this is a dig through time control deck, and that's a huge difference, gameplay wise and deck building wise. So 3 digs, and they are fueled by Illumination, which can be cycled, Sabotage, Censor, efficient removal, Fabled Passages, and opts. Right? So why is it a dig through time deck? 1, because it has 3 copies of Dig Through Time, contrary to like 2 in blue-whites. And also it plays Torrential Gearhulk to flash it back, right? So Gearhulk is excellent if you flash back something meaningful, right? For example, normally in blue-white there is nothing to flash back other than that Dig Through Time, which you play 2 of. Now in this deck, you can flash back 2 Glimmers and 1 Hyro, which is already a nice top end. And on top of that, we add additional 3 digs. And now it makes it much more a Gearhulk dig control deck, which with the addition of 4 Typhoons, can really turn the corner. Really has a lot of haymakers. Like starting turn 4, you just go, Glimmer, Hero, Gearhulk into Glimmer, Shark Typhoon, dig into something, and you just really keep hammering, right? And that's why I really like this type of shell with pushes to really control the early game. Now there is this one card which I don't really get, honestly, but again, it's Waffle. The first half is like Brazen Borrower, but it can also return your own things, and then the other part is a Mind Rot, right? You discard 2 cards. How good is that? Don't know, maybe that was just a test, but it seems actually okay. Like, this deck seems like it cannot possibly flood, basically. Like, with 3 castles, this draws a card, this draws a card, this filters through, draws. This has another mode, and all of that top end, I cannot possibly imagine being flooded. Sideboard, I do not have a lot of experience with blue-black sideboards, but it just makes sense. Thoughtseize, Egg Grasp, Cry of Carnarium against mono blacks, enter the God Eternals as this kind of, curve topper against kind of reddish decks, because it stabilizes your life, puts the blocker into play, also mills you, which is not trivial with again, because the dig deck. I myself could probably see like playing like one main, for example, and cutting, for example, the Consign to Oblivion. So that's the deck. That's the deck. And let's watch one of the matches I played with the deck earlier today. See you in the match. Match game 1. I opened this hand, I'm on the play, so obviously this hand is a mulligan. And it's actually like a very clean and an easy mulligan. Like if you change those two Gearhulks into lands, that would also most probably be a mulligan. If you change two Gearhulks into a land and a push, then that would be a keep probably. But again, that's just pure speculation. This hand is absolutely a mulligan. Now I open this hand and it's not excellent. Okay, this hand is not excellent. I look at this hand and I know that I can play turn 1 tap land, turn 2 opt, and then just kind of go from there, hopefully. So I think I would absolutely keep this hand, but the logic here is that while this hand is not excellent by any means, it has got the potential to become excellent, I believe. It has a very high ceiling and relatively high floor. Like, obviously, you know, if I'm playing against any aggressive deck, it becomes a bit problematic. But against any non-aggressive deck, it's pretty good. And it still, again, has the potential to upgrade. So I think that's a good hand to keep. Now, the question is, what do you bottom? Okay, so I'll give you just a second to think about it. What would you bottom? You can pause the video, which I highly suggest you do, whilst watching my analyses. My answer is bottom the Gearhulk, okay? Why? Because it is, as we've established, a dig through time deck. It has all the tools to make it possible, right? Again, the opts, the passages, the sabotages, and the efficient interaction, right? With this hand, I will be opting into probably like a 1/1 Typhoon to probably block something, which already puts 2 cards in my graveyard, by which point I will have drawn like 3 or 4 other cards, which I will probably want to use, which means that I am... So basically the question is, which of the spells I will cast earlier? And I think just clearly just looking at this, it will already make dig cost 6 mana already with this hand, so it's on par with Gearhulk. But I strongly believe dig can be cast not only on turn 6, but also 5, and the ceiling is probably like turn 4. But let's realistically go with turn 5. And because of that, I would bottom the Gearhulk. Let's see what I do there. I do bottom the Gearhulk. Okay. Now the question is, do you lead with Pools or Island? I think I'd rather lead with Pools, because I can still go turn 2 Island opt into push. So that's the reason why I would lead with Pools. My opponent goes Temple Garden tapped go, and now I've had a lot of experience with Pioneer, but it's gone through a lot of changes, and this opening doesn't tell me a lot, okay? So for now, I'll just play an Island pass. I do not really know what's going on. My opponent then proceeds to play Passage, so still no idea what's going on. So I'll just opt end step, double opt end step, Sabotage. I will probably take the Sabotage because, like with this opt, I will take the Sabotage, and with the subsequent opt, I'll probably look for any lands. I don't know what my opponent is playing. I want to have some safety valve. I did not take another opt because there was another opt on top. And now the reason I didn't take the opt, because I know that this turn I will play land Sabotage, I will untap, and I would not have as much time as I wish I had to opt. Like, I do not want to have to squeeze that opt in to my turn. So that's the reason why I did not take the opt. Now I draw the Drowned Catacomb and another land, so Catacomb go, and I've got all the lands in the world, so now I just need to keep surviving. My opponent plays Woodland Cemetery at a Ferry. My first thought is 5 Calandiv Mizzet, probably. So Teferi is a must counter. Now I look at my graveyard count immediately. 2 cards. This will be the 3rd, right? So there's almost no card on top that I would leave on top, because I want to ditch it to be able to turn 4 dig. It's actually, now it's an easy decision because it's Heartless Act, so that's the obvious ditch. Now I can actually play a Passage as well, to have even more cards in the graveyard, to leave, for example, Sabotage in the graveyard for future Gearhulks. Let's see what my opponent does. My opponent plays Uro, which is a non-consideration. I do not care. My opponent misses on the land drop, so has all gas in hand. But now I can. Whoa, no. Now I can. Whoa, no. Oh, okay. It stopped. It stopped. So that was the 5 cards, and then the 2 I took. I think it's an easy choice, actually, not much to talk about. You could potentially consider like a Negate, probably, but I decided to just go for raw power. They do not have stack interaction, so I just go for raw power, and then I can go, Glimmer the next turn, Slam Typhoon, and just go from there. Just mid-range them out, basically. Oh, drag the Gearhulk, and as I mentioned in the opening section of the video, endgame of this deck is just wild. My opponent plays a Caryatid and passes, so that's the mana engine they will have. But now I can play the Glimmer. Again, I'm leaving Typhoons in my hand. Another Dig and a Censor. My opponent is choked on mana, because of 4 mana. So if they play another land, which they hope to draw, and they probably will, they will have 5 for the Niv, for the Bring to Light. So I probably do want actually both cards, just as they are on top. And I do draw them, yeah. Now, the question is, okay, another Typhoon. Okay, I play the 6th land. Now the question is, to all of you, what do you do? Do you slam the Typhoon as the plan was and just go Typhoon? Or you, for example, pass and then you just Gearhulk Sabotage something, or just Gearhulk Dig something, right? Or conversely, you could just pass, Censor something they play for 2 mana, right? And then for the remaining 4 plus 4 in the graveyard, Dig again. And because of these 2 options, like Censor into Dig and also Gearhulk into something, I think I'd rather pass. Way safer. I think it's way safer to pass. I've got the end game, I've got the cards, basically I'm asking myself, how do I possibly lose this game? What are the specific cards I lose to? What's the combination of cards I lose to? And the conclusion is that they could go, like running Teferi into something, which would really punish the Typhoon plan. I'd rather go the safe route. Now they play Clothes. I do not really care about Clothes. It's just to drain a turn is almost irrelevant, honestly. And I'm just putting 5 power into play whilst digging. So, and now I probably just need lands, but also not really. So I look at this package, and to be honest, you could just take Typhoon Gearhulk. But now the thing is that there's no way I play all of these cards. Like if I do, I'll win. Gearhulk actually is pretty good because I can do the same thing again the next turn, right? I can just take the Gearhulk, untap, mush them, and still hold up like Gearhulk Glimmer or Gearhulk Sabotage. So I think, and then put more clock into place. And Gearhulk, I think, is a really good card to take. And yeah, I just took another land because I will physically not be able to play out all these spells. So why would I do it? Another land that's perfectly fine, so I can just play Catacomb, bash them, and let's see what they Clothes. If they Clothes Sabotage, I mean, it just doesn't matter what they Clothes. I'm fine with that, really. So I don't care. Okay, they Sabotage Clothes, sure. So I will probably just go Gearhulk Sabotage, absolutely whatever they play. Yeah. Gearhulk Sabotage. And just hope I kill them. And then they promptly concede. I didn't really need these cards here. So they were stuck on mana. They could have just exiled their own land, as far as I know. So they would have ramped a bit, right? But they decided they wanted the Dreadbore, and again, I decided to go the aggressive route, right? My opponent has stumbled a bit, so I just want to punish them as hard as I can, because I know their late game is also powerful. Uro blocks Gearhulk all day. So I'd rather just pedal to the metal and just kill them as fast as I possibly can to avoid them drawing out of the screw, basically. And now, I've never liked Gearhulk, honestly, because it gets blocked, it gets killed, it gets disputed, right? However, in this shell, it just kind of seems to work, you know? Because it has got so many more flashback targets, good flashback targets, between the glimmers and the 3 digs. And I think with the addition of typhoons to the shell, it makes you you will still have some kind of targets to kill. So I think now with 3 Gearhulks and 4 typhoons, you will have targets to be killed. But on top of that is that they are if they don't, they get really punished really hard. So yeah, that was game 1. I think a lot of interesting decisions, a lot of interesting key control concepts had to be talked through. And now let's go to game 2. Game 2, and let's look at the sideboard. Okay, let's look at the sideboard. So I decided, because it's a Niv deck, right? I mean, that's what I established. I might have been wrong, but that's what I established at that point. And what you mostly lose to are not the creatures, are like these kind of sticky threads and these types of stuff. So I decided to just trim on cut all the pushes, cut the Heartless Act. I don't think I needed any removal, and I just put all the Gusts in and Disputes in. Because both Gust and Dispute tag bring to light. I mean, Gust. Yeah, they both tag both value engines. Also, Dispute tags like Teferi. I didn't bring in Thoughtseize, what I could have, and I think I should have. Now thinking about it, now this is the hand. It's absolutely excellent, just everything I would want in a hand, really. Just opt, and then just counter, excellent hand. Now, I will lead on a non-passage land, because now that I have drawn the 4th land, I know it will enter untapped, so I can just easily do that. My opponent goes with Caryatid, can't do anything about it, let's opt and take the dig. Now, unfortunately, I draw another dig, but the first one was really good, because I know I will go interaction into interaction, crack it once, so I know I would be able to go with 4 mana dig at some point very easily. So I wanted the dig to kind of pull ahead, right? Because just going 1 for 1 won't cut it. The second dig is obviously expendable, but it's fine. My opponent Thoughtseizes me. So what's the answer? Yeah, I will again give you a moment to think about it. My answer in these spots, I usually do that, which is I let it resolve, because it's their turn 3 and they haven't played a land. If you tap out for a negate, it means that you want to defend something. What are you defending, really? Another negate? So you just might as well not cast it, because you're losing it to a negate anyway. Dig? You don't care about the second dig. So there's almost nothing they can take to really hurt me. And if I do negate it, I have my shields down for them to play a land and just to ferry me. So I think I just don't lose anything by letting it resolve. So, and that's key. They take Censor. Sure, so they probably want to push through a creature, but I don't care about any creatures, really. Okay, and they play Uro. Really don't care about it. Okay, now they've got 5 mana, and I draw a Sinister Sabotage, which I don't know about. And then I think, actually, they do have 1 creature I care about, that's Niv-Mizzet, right? So they may have wanted to take it. Now, if they took it and they had Niv-Mizzet, I assume they just drew this for the turn. Because had they had so many lands, they wouldn't have taken Censor, because they could just pay. So I am very confident that was their top deck. Which is just a way to just kind of get a bits of information here and there, just deduce what your opponent has or might have. My opponent plays a Niv-Mizzet, is very quickly met with a Sabotage, much to their dismay. I had a Typhoon on top, but again, I've got the double dig. Actually, I could have left Shark Typhoon on top, because I had a guaranteed turn for dig because of the passage. However, what this enabled me to do, and I think that's key to remember, is that because I ditched the Typhoon that turn, the next turn, which is this turn, I can go crack Passage, 5th card, negate something for 2 mana, 6th card dig. So the previous turn, with with the same information I had available, because I top decked the Swamp, so with the same information I had available, I could deduce, I could just kind of I could just plan ahead that if I ditch Typhoon now, the next turn I can go dig or negate dig, which is very big if your opponent's on 1 card, soon to be 2. So my opponent goes and plays Casualties of War, choosing to destroy a land. So when I first saw it, I just kind of laughed a bit inside, but I know the point is that they want to be able to bring back Uro, right? And now the question is, do I even care? Do I or do I not, and why? So I can obviously do that play, fetch, right, negate it, dig. But isn't it really a waste of a negate? And that's my thought. And actually, I opt to just fetch, float my mana, let it die, and just dig. My opponent has no cards in hand, but they're very close to Uroing. Now I can just safely dig, but I hope I do it for full amount. Yeah, no reason to left 2 mana up. Like, why would I dig for 2 mana and leave 2 up? I'm not going to do anything with it anyway. I'm not going to draw, like, Think twice. So I might as well pay the full price. Now I look at these cards, and I opt to take Sabotage Glimmer. And I think that's a good choice, because I'm not close to casting Gearhulk soon. And if I am, I'll be casting Dig anyway. And obviously I could have taken a land, but I think Glimmer will just find a land. And I also have got draw steps along the way, and I certainly want a piece of interaction. I could have taken 2 sabotages, but then I'm risking getting bottlenecked on lands. So I think that's one of the best splits. Now, the good thing about this turn is that I can hold up Glimmer, or double negate, or just sabotage. So I'm in this good spot that I don't feel threatened of anything. Now they play Nairi, so I could sabotage it, but I think it's best to negate it for 2 reasons, okay? So one is that I'd rather hold up Sabotage for that Uro or a top-decked Niv-Mizzet. And second thing is mana efficiency. So this turn is not mana efficient at all, right? I will not be using my full mana. However, if you think about it again, the next turn, if you map it out a bit more, the following turn I will play my 5th land, and I want to be able to hold up card draw, obviously, but also I will be able to hold up Sabotage Negate, 5 mana. So if I use Sabotage now, obviously I will be able to hold up Negate the following turn, right? But again, I'm being vulnerable to Uro, which is literally there, and if I sabotage it, it will be escaping the following turn. So I think that's an easy negate, but again, for a number of reasons, okay? And that's my overarching point here. Okay, so yeah, so play Watery Grave. Now with that downfall, you could even just whoa, oh Gomodo. Okay. So as you can imagine, I sabotaged Uro and just dug through time. I took a Shark Typhoon and a land, and I remember why that was the case, because I didn't have the 6th land, and I thought this turn, when they are low on cards, is the turn to punish them and just take the untapped land, take the Typhoon, and just play untapped land Typhoon. Obviously, conversely, you can just go untapped land, Glimmer, hold up, negate. But I think I want to take this specific turn to punish them, because that's, I think, my opening to close the door, to shut the door on the game. And my opponent just concedes, no matter what, doesn't matter what I've got in hand. That was enough, like I pushed. So again, you could play a bit more conservatively and just hold up Glimmer Negate, which is fair enough, but I think, like, okay, so you can, if I play Shark Typhoon, you can say, okay, but if they play Niv-Mizzet, you're in a really bad spot, right? Sure, but if I hold up these two, I still don't have a good situation against Niv-Mizzet. However, this play makes me able to just untap, play a land, and I can just go, you know, for example, downfall your Niv-Mizzet Glimmer and get 7 power on the battlefield. Or I can just go Heroes downfall the Niv-Mizzet, negate something else, or they can just play something and just negate that spell, chump with the Shark, chump Niv-Mizzet with the Shark, then Glimmer end step, get more cards, and just never worry about the board state and only worry about the stack and very, very selective things of the stack. So I think this play was the best in this situation, and that concludes the match, which I won 2-0. This match got me really impressed with the deck itself, with the construction, how it flows, because I think it has a very nice flow to it. And yeah, that was the match. Thanks again to Card Market for sponsoring this video. All the relevant links are in the video description. And what can I say? What can I say? We passed the turn. We didn't die trying. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hold my hand. Let's pass the turn together and see you next time. Cheers.